Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible equinety stories and how equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We are swinging into the massive state of Texas, and we've got Professional Breakaway Roper Aspen Miller on the call this week. Aspen, welcome to the Team Equinety Podcast.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I've been trying to get you on for a while. I know you are super busy, so I really appreciate you breaking away a few minutes here for us. So that's really appreciated. And I know that people are really going to enjoy this podcast because, you know, you are actually, I believe, the first breakaway roper that we've had on the podcast. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Yeah, that's great. So let's go back to the beginnings. How long have you been riding a horse? And how did you start? And what made you kind of go towards the breakaway event?
Yes, sir. I've always been involved in rodeo. My family's done it for several years. And when I was younger, I kind of did the all-around stuff. And I kind of took to breakaway a little bit more than the other events and just kind of stuck to it.
Yeah. Was it a little bit more action for you?
Yes, sir. It's fast and it's fun. And I think that's why I like it.
Yeah. So how long have you been breakaway roping specifically?
I've probably been breakaway roping for the past 8 years, I'd like to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're tearing it up out there, and you've got quite a bit of activity going. You're going to Vegas here coming up. Tell us about that. What's going on in Vegas?
Yes, sir. I'm going out there to compete in the All-In, the Mike and Sherilyn Johnson Vegas Toughest, and the World Resort Breakaway that they just added this year. Nice.
And there's some big money possible.
Yes, sir. Lots of money to be given away. The All-In pays great. The Mike and Sherilyn Johnson has always paid great, and especially the World Resort. It's supposed to have $80,000 in the pot, so that's awesome.
Well, maybe I should take up breakaway. Is that possible?
Yes, sir. I think you should.
Yeah, might have a few other competitors. They better get on quick, though, since it's coming up. That's awesome. So what are some of the other career highlights that you've had since you've been doing this?
Yes, sir. Back in 2020, I was the Texas High School Reserve State Breakaway Champion. I was the 2019 and 2020 Mike and Sherilyn Johnson Vegas Toughest Champion and the 2020 All-In Champion.
That's quite impressive. Now, 2020, and you said high school, so you just recently graduated.
Yes, sir. I'm a freshman in college. This is my first semester.
Holy camoly, and already in the pro levels. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I like to get into on the Equinety Podcast is obviously talking about the Equinety products. And, you know, prior to finding out about Equinety, was there any specific recurring challenges that you were having with your horse and maybe trying different supplements, or was everything just kind of going tickety-boo and then you came across the Equinety product? What was that like?
Yes, sir. I've always had issues with ulcers. And I have a horse. We live down south, kind of by the coast, so our ground stays wet.
Yeah.
And I've always had issues with really soft feet. And but we've tried several different things. Some stuff has helped a little. Some stuff we haven't really noticed much difference. But since using Equinety, we've noticed a really, really big change in their feet. My shoer has said such. I've noticed that I think that their ulcers and their guts are a lot better. They don't swish their tails as much. They don't, everything from their attitudes to their coats to their appearance has just increased greatly.
Yes, and I know when we were talking earlier, in as much as you're hauling, you've also noticed that they haul better, they kind of recover faster all around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel like they just feel better. They just act like they feel better. They don't look sore and stiff when they get off the trailer. They're moving around better, everything like that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and for those of you who are tuning in, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about Equinety, or maybe you've been looking into it for a while, and you might be asking yourself, how in the world does this product, and we have two products. So we have the Equinety Horse Excel and we have the Equinety Ultimate OEC. So I'll talk about both of them, but the question might be, how can this product or products help in so many ways? And what's really unique about the Equinety Horse Excel, it's 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, no sugars, no starches, and there's no loading dose. And what's really unique about it is it doesn't fit into a specific supplement category. In other words, it's not a, quote, hoof supplement or joint supplement or recovery supplement, or, shiny coat supplement or any of these things. What it's specifically designed to do is give the body what it needs to release its own repairing hormones. And once that happens, which is very quick, within hours, then the body can send its own repairing hormones to its own problem areas. And so it's customizing to each horse's needs. And so although, as you mentioned, one of the challenges that you were having, soft feet, and didn't you say you would your horse wouldn't walk across gravel?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well,
she would always be a little off, and you could tell it hurt her feet.
So then you, of course, had to boot her up, and
yes, sir.
That takes a lot of time. Just to get, just to walk across the road. No, just over here is all I need.
Yes, sir. That's all I needed out of her.
Yeah, yeah. So do you recall how long it took? Because the firmer, stronger, thicker soles and all of that hoof quality is very, very typical in helping, with the horse when they're using the Equinety Horse Excel. Do you recall how long it took from the time you started till you noticed that, well, now she's able to walk across with no problems?
Yes, sir. I feel as if it was in the first 2 weeks of using the product. I mean, it was a very, very noticeable and fast change. And
yeah,
I feel as if it doesn't take long to show signs of helping at all.
No, that's right. And I would say the upper 90 percentile, I'm talking north of 98, 99%, see changes in 30 days or less.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that's everywhere from, typically within the first couple days, horses that have a lot of stress or anxiety or a bit spooky, we've noticed complete demeanor changes within 2 or 3 days.
Sir.
Is that
for sure?
You notice that as well?
Yes, sir. I would have one that would just kind of get a little hot during practice, and I mean, it's just completely changed her attitude and her demeanor. I mean, her head drops now. She's not as worked up. She doesn't get as excited. I feel like that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, that's right. And then going into the week to 2 weeks, we've had a lot of feedback. We've been on the market now almost 8 years. So
yes, sir.
Very, very common feedback within a week to 2 weeks is the better focus, more stamina. They feel better under saddle. They're just kind of more balanced from the inside out. That's pretty common with what you found.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we get into the 30-day mark, softer, shinier coat, even filling out top line, hips area. And then, yeah. And then the thicker sole depth and better quality hoof is really starting to take in. That obviously takes a little bit longer, maybe towards a 6-week mark. But as you noticed, within a couple of weeks, just walking across the gravel was a big thing.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Yeah. So I know you started off using the Equinety Horse Excel, which is the amino acids initially, and then you added the Ultimate OEC. What specifically did you notice when you added the Ultimate OEC?
Yes, sir. I would notice, because I've said I've had an issue with ulcers and stuff like that. I could run my hand down a horse of mine's stomach and she would just twitch. And I mean, she'd pin her ears back. You could tell she was just very uncomfortable. And I started using the OEC, and ever since, I mean, she's just, I mean, you can definitely tell. You can run your hand down her stomach and she doesn't tighten up or flinch or move. She stops swishing her tail as much.
Mm-hmm.
Everything like that.
No, that's great. And that's one of the reasons why we brought the Ultimate OEC out. It serves two purposes. One, to work in combination with the aminos, because the aminos are giving the body what it needs to help repair cells. And the Ultimate OEC gives those repaired cells some nutrition, but it also serves as a really powerful antioxidant, which helps reduce inflammation. And the Ultimate OEC is made up of a flaxseed-based omega-3 oil. It's got 1,000 IUs of natural cold-pressed vitamin E and colloidal silver all in one. And
yes,
so, just the combination, the colloidal silver, a lot of people use that for gut things. And we actually have veterinarians that just use the Equinety for hind gut issues and things like that. But the combination we found is just really, really powerful.
Right.
Yeah. So as we look forward to coming into the end of the year, you've got all the Vegas plans, which should be very exciting. What are your plans going into next year?
My plans going into next year are just to keep at them and go hard. And I bought my card back in October, so I plan on going pretty hard and seeing how that goes.
Yeah. Well, that's
yes,
the only way to do it.
Yes, sir. Only way.
That's right. Now, I know you're pretty active on social media. Can you give out your social media coordinates so people can follow you?
Yes, sir. My Instagram is aspen._sky, and my Facebook is just Aspen Miller.
That is awesome. Well, Aspen Miller, breakaway roper out of the great state of Texas. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story here on the Equinety Podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
That's all for this
Bye-bye.
episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.